What's up? How did you not click on Revenge? That's a great title. I know. I've been listening to Mindful Anger, which is a book, but I'm listening to it on Audible. One of my codependency buddies lets me log into her Audible. And the topic of revenge came up in one of the chapters. So the reason revenge feels good and the reason that we justify, and there's kind of an emotional harmony to it, well, you've wronged me, so I'm gonna wrong you, and two wrongs make a right. The reason that's a thing is because in an evolutionary sense, monkeys are super social. We have a society, a tribal set of parameters that govern our instincts, right? Because we really need each other for survival. And society's evolved faster than we have to some degree, so there's a lot of irrelevant survival mechanisms. So the reason we have a revenge urge is because it basically it lowers the instances of bullying. So if one monkey always tries to take your food and a couple of times you kind of go and you freeze, you get a freeze response, then they're gonna go, cool, idiot lets me take their food. And then the third or fourth time you go no, and you bite them, and then they go, okay, I'm not gonna take your food anymore. That's why we developed an instinct where it's that's a good thing. Bite them and then they'll stop taking your food away. But, that's old hardware, yeah? It's not even software, it's old hardware. So in our social engagements now, if somebody is messing with you at work and you bite them and then they stop, cool, all right? Because you don't really have to deal with that person other than at work, and it's you probably don't want to be friends with them if they're going to bully you anyway. So causing fear does change the behavior, right? And this is the thing with authoritarian parenting and even dog training. There's a whole new school of dog training where it's you don't dominate the animal, you don't have to make them afraid of you to get compliance, in the same way that you don't have to do it with children. Post-war, it was discipline the child, and they'd send you to scouts to get you used to it, and then you'd be good to go to the army. There's this whole compliance thing, but parenting has made better strides with authoritative parenting, explaining it to the child in words and in metaphors that they understand, and then they go, that's why I shouldn't run on the road. Not don't run on the road, and they're road equals fear, yeah? So causing fear does stop behavior. It does stop dangerous things from happening, and it will stop someone from bullying you. But if you're going to cause fear every time you get triggered by a friend or partner or someone at work who you do they're going to start avoiding you, and that authoritarian dictatorship model, the dictator always gets overthrown. They back the people into a corner. Eventually the people will stab them in the back given the chance. And that's why dictators always fall. I don't know any instance where they've humbly stepped down. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. Causing fear does stop the bullshit, but what if your partner says something or does something and you interpret it as why didn't you get me a glass of water? You don't love me, you're going to leave me. I knew you were cheating on me. Now I'm going to punish you. Do you really need to cause fear in your relationship? No, that's going to limit the communication and the vulnerability and the understanding in your relationship. If you need to cause fear to get them to stop messing with you, it's much easier to explain it to them hey, can you not, blah, blah, because it really upsets me. And then, I'm not happy when I go to work and I do a worse job. So can you please, and for them to go, yeah, I understand, rather than frighten them to get them to change their behavior, which, it does work as well. People do change their behavior from being frightened, but it's then the connection is damaged. And I've been watching Negotiation by Chris Voss, who's a hostage negotiator, and he said that anger always damages long-term relationships, and he's always. He doesn't really explain it, he doesn't use any stats or anything, but a part of me just innately was yeah, that's why I never get angry, and if I do, I'm damn it, now this connection is severed because I caused fear, now that person's afraid of me, and it's cool, they might not take my food anymore, but it's I've lost the love and connection in that relationship. So so the revenge urge is valid, and it's built in because it did once protect us when we were living in trees and shit, but we don't live in that society anymore, yeah? And do you really want to damage that connection? No. So that urge, two wrongs make a right, it's I need to use my words, which monkeys didn't have when that urge was like built and cultivated. I need to explain to that person why this isn't cool. It's a tough conversation, but the ending is usually like, we all understand each other, and an oxytocin release. And the more that you get that, they're like, okay, I'm going to have this tough conversation. We're going to feel more on the same page by the end of it. The more that you feel tough conversation equals like vulnerable oxytocin release, loving connection. All right, that's enough for me. We're all monkeys, blah, 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 revenge, monkeys, blah, bye.